In this video, I'm going to show you how we're booking 20 plus qualified meetings every single month, not through email, not through DMs, but by picking up the phone. Over the last quarter, we've held over 1,000 conversations and turned them into a steady stream of qualified pipeline with our exact customer profile. And in this video, I'll walk you through the process step by step. First, I'll show you why email is basically broken and why calling is the highest ROI channel you can use. Then I'll walk you through how to map your TAM, enrich it with verified numbers, and simple call frameworks that actually get decision makers to say yes. Finally, I'll show you how to layer in intent signals so you're only calling people who actually care and have heard about you before. So, if you want to know how to get meetings with literally anyone you want, this is the playbook. Okay, so we dived into my computer, and this is going to be how to book meetings with anyone you want, literally anyone, okay? Here's what's working in 2025. We're booking 20 plus qualified meetings every month for ourselves and for our clients with cold and warm calling, our ICP, which is our ideal customer profile, okay? And this is not just small companies at all. This really is for companies that are targeting large SMBs, so larger small to medium businesses, and enterprise level companies, okay? We're booking in some huge billion-dollar companies for ourselves and for our clients directly through calling. So why should you be calling? Well, we've noticed that B2B sales has really dramatically changed in the last 12 months. Back in sort of 2022 to 2024, you could send thousands of cold emails and you could expect to book sort of maybe 50 meetings from 1,000 emails sent, okay, from that list. Today, if you get one meeting from that same 1,000, you're doing well. Now, the reason for this is really simple, okay, and a lot of people don't realize this. It's that AI spam filters from Google and Microsoft have become far more aggressive, okay? They've rolled out AI spam filters and they are filtering any email that comes into the inbox with a zealousness that has not ever existed before, okay? They are really going for it. At the same time, we've noticed that the market has become massively oversaturated. There are now dozens of email sending platforms where for, sort of $50 to $150 a month, you can blast 10,000 plus emails. There are also maybe 100 plus providers of infrastructure that you can get set up with straight away. So the barrier to entry for sending cold email has reduced massively, which means that there's a lot more competition. There's a lot more bad actors that are leveraging these tools to send really bad cold emails, and therefore Google and Microsoft have to act in order to protect their customer base, and that they've done that by rolling out very aggressive spam filters. It's also created a lot of noise in every prospect's inbox. So even if your email gets through the spam filters and lands in the inbox, people are tuning out of cold email, okay? So this does not mean that cold email is completely broken. I am a big proponent of cold email. I've made my career off the back of cold email. I am a big believer in cold email. So you should still send cold email, but there are very specific people who will benefit the most from cold email. And this is companies with a very large total available market. So your total available market is the amount of people, physical people, in the market, so relevant to who you're trying to reach out to, that you can actually go ahead and contact, okay? So you've got your TAM and then you've got your TCM, okay? It's just your total contactable market. So this is the amount of people that you can actually get data about. So you can actually get their email address and you can go and reach out to them, okay? So we would typically say looking for sort of 100,000 plus contacts in that. Also having a no-brainer offer that is risk-free and solves a very specific problem and can be delivered quickly, okay? For most people, most companies, that is not the case. Most people, if you're looking at this right now, thinking, okay, my total available market is not over 100,000 people. Maybe I'm targeting enterprise and there's sort of 5,000 to 6,000 prospects that are, valid for me to go out and contact. I'm also selling a very complex solution. I can't make a no-brainer offer that's risk-free. It doesn't exist for what I do. I definitely solve a specific problem. I hope so. If you run a business, you should solve a specific problem. And maybe it can't even be delivered quickly. We're looking at enterprise deals. You're looking from 6 to 18 months in terms of the deal cycle from the moment of contacting to actually getting signed and moving forward. And that doesn't even account for the rollout phase of this as well, okay? So when you're looking at enterprise deals, these are very long deal cycles and very long rollout cycles, looking at a sort of, 6 months to 5 year timeline on any of these, okay? So if this is you watching this right now, then I would say cold email is probably not the best solution for you, okay? Whereas if you do have a big total available market, you have a no-brainer offer, you're selling to small, medium businesses, you've got a risk-free guarantee, you solve a specific problem that can be delivered very, very quickly, then be my guest, go send cold email. We actually have an offer just like that, so we send lots and lots of cold emails, but a lot of the clients that we work with don't, so cold email is not that relevant for them. So this is where calling comes in. Your advantage with calling is really, really clear, and we're seeing this all the time. Most people do not do it, okay? They stick to emails and DMs because it feels easier and it is less intimidating. And we see this all the time with technical founders. So people that don't come from a sales background, they are scared of talking. They're scared of getting on the phone. They don't want to go out there and sell their services because for whatever reason, they don't enjoy it. They find it confronting. It's scary, okay? This is why typically we like to work with founders that have a sales background and understand the need to build pipeline and how essential it is to a lifeblood of your business. Okay, if you don't have a pipeline, you don't have a business. Okay, that's as simple as. You might have the best product in the world, but if you're not selling it to anyone, then unfortunately you don't really have a business. Okay, so hiding behind email and DMs is basically meaning that you're missing out on a ginormous opportunity. Okay, and it means that everyone else in your market is doing the same thing, so you're not separating yourself from anyone else in the market. For example, I get hundreds of emails every day and every week, and most of them I don't even open. If I open up my spam as well on Google, on my email account, the amount of crap that's in there is just overwhelming. Do you know how many sales calls I get? I've honestly got 0 sales calls in the past month. I've had 1 sales call in the past year, and guess what? I actually bought what they were selling to me, okay? Because they called, they got directly to me, they had a conversation with me, they figured out that I had a pain point that needed to be solved, and we got on a sales call, they presented a solution to me, it matched what I was looking for, and I went ahead and bought, okay? If they had emailed me or DM'd me, probably wouldn't have opened it, and I probably wouldn't have seen it, and they probably wouldn't have got a sale out of me, okay? If someone takes the time to pitch me and call me, I will answer, and if their pitch is strong and they can genuinely help me, I will listen. Okay, I am not the only one that feels this way. That your prospects are out there right now, desperate for your solutions, and it is your job to get that solution in their hands. You can even look at this from a moral perspective. You think, oh, sales is, I don't want to sell people. I'm scared of getting on the phone. Nah, that's scary, whatever. You have a moral obligation as a business owner to get your product into as many people's hands as possible. If you're really sitting there with conviction that your product is the best on the market and is solving pain points, then morally, you should want that product in as many people's hands as possible. And that is just a straight up fact. So how do you actually get started with cold calling? Well, getting started is pretty easy. I'm going to break this down into 4 main areas for you. Firstly, mapping your TAM. Secondly, enriching for numbers. Thirdly, cold calling versus warm calling. And 4th, setting up intent signals. So let's look at TAM mapping. In our opinion, TAM mapping is the most important part of the process. Who are you actually going to call and the data behind it? Getting this right is absolutely make or break. Let's say you're selling Facebook ad services and you're calling someone on the product testing team. This is a bad move. You're not going to get the result that you want to get. So we need to break down who are we selling to, what is their job title, what country are they in, how big are the companies that we're selling to, and a bunch of other firmographic factors. You should have a really strong definition of who your ICP is. I've got a lot of content on my channel about defining your ICP. If you're curious about that, go and look through the rest of my videos. I break this down into a lot of detail. But basically, you want to break these down into distinct segments. So, for example, marketing leaders in SaaS companies with 100 employees. That's a defined segment that you can go reach out to that will typically share common pain points across that segment. Now, a great tool to build lists is clay.com. We use clay.com for all of our list building. Fantastic tools, basically like Excel on steroids. That's how we describe it. Great tool for building lists. You can go and play around with it. You get a 2-week free trial. It's a great tool. If you're going to build lists, I'd recommend bringing on someone who knows how to use Clay, hiring a Clay agency, or learning it yourself. Okay. Now, in number enrichment, we can use Clay automatically to find valid and verified numbers for every lead in the lists that we generate. What we do is we leverage the API access that Clay has, and we plug in a whole bunch of different tools to create a waterfall enrichment. You can use tools like Find Email, like Lead Magic, like Wizard, like Full Enrich. There's a bunch of tools out there in the market. You can take that API key, you can plug it into Clay, and then you can leverage the credits that you have of that tool instead of using Clay credits. Clay credits are quite expensive, costly, and it's not the most efficient use of Clay. Okay, you should be plugging in an API key. So once you've done that, you can build out a waterfall enrichment of all these different providers. And what that means is that when you run a phone number enrichment, it will check this one first here. If it doesn't find it, it'll try this one, it'll try this one, it'll try this one, it'll try this one. And then one of these will most likely be able to pull that valid number. Some providers are better than others. And you want to build a list of trusted providers that you like. You can also validate that as well. So once you've found the number, you can use a validation provider as well. But again, you want to do your own research here and make sure that you're using a provider that you trust. Okay? Now, let's look at cold calling. Cold calling is calling people who know nothing about you. So they've probably never seen your company before. They don't know what you sell. So it means that you've got a very short period of time on the phone to gather their interest and get them to actually listen to you. So what we typically see and what we typically use is a permission-based opener, okay? And this is very popular in the cold calling world. Basically what a permission-based opener is, instead of picking up the phone straight away and going, "Hi, my name's Tom, I work for Advanced Client and I want to sell you some cold calling services," and then they go, piss it off, and then they hang up the phone. Basically what we want to do is get a micro commitment from them in order to actually get your pitch out. Because if you're trying to blast out your pitch, which is a 30-second pitch, on the phone straight away, you're going to be stressed, you're going to be panicking, it's going to come across all bad. We basically want to get them to say yes first, so they're listening, so then we can calmly say what we need to say and take them through a bit of micro discovery. So you can do things by calling out the obvious and say, "Look, John, I'll be honest with you, this is a cold call. Do you want to give me 30 seconds or do you want to hang up right now?" You can say, "Hey, John, it's Tom calling here. Got you down as a big part of the recruitment team over at da-da-da. Is that still the case?" And they'll go, "Yeah." Basically, you want to get that micro yes out of them. There's a lot of psychology involved in cold calling, and there are a lot better people than me who will explain to you how to actually go out and do this yourself. Okay, there's a lot of education on YouTube. There's a lot of great cold callers on LinkedIn as well who you can follow, and they provide a lot of education around the space. So go and find them and go and learn a little bit more. But we always use a permission-based opener. We always find that allows you to have much higher rate of conversations. Then you want to do a sort of soft pitch. So really the purpose here is to spark curiosity without overwhelming them. So typically we say something like, "We work with type of company or this role that we know this person that we're calling is part of, and to help them solve this problem." And then what we want to do is ask them a question. So things like, "How are you currently handling the problem area that we solve?" Or "What's your biggest challenge when it comes to this?" Or one of the best things is to assume that they have it fixed so that they will open up to you. You'd say, let's say that you offer Facebook ads. You could say something like, "Look, I assume you've got, your Facebook ads completely under control. You're getting profitable results right now, and you're super happy with your creative direction. Tell me that you've got this all handled right now." And then what this allows them to do is it gives them a bit of cognitive dissonance, because if they know it's not true, they're going to say, "Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, we don't actually have this handled right now. And what do you have? What do you want to tell? What do you want to talk about?" Then you want to do a proof-based pitch after this. So once you've got that micro yes, they're saying, "Yes, we do have that problem." And again, this is qualifying them as well. So they've said, "Yes, we have this problem. We know they're now qualified for what we sell." Okay, you want to do a sort of proof-based pitch here. You could say, "Look, we've helped X companies, Y companies, Z companies do X, Y, and Z." And then you want to basically push them onto a meeting. Okay, you could say, "Look, it sounds like this is an issue for you. It sounds like it's an issue for you right now. If we could help you get this solved, would you be open to a sort of 15 to 20 minute quick call where we can run through, what that looks like and how we typically help people?" Again, we're looking to get them on a call here. Some people will say yes, some people will say no, some people will throw out objections. There's a lot of objection handling people out there, objection handling ninjas that you can go and follow. I'm not going to walk you through that in this video, okay, just to be clear. We're giving you an overview of the system. But really, when you're cold calling, you want your tone to be very calm, very relaxed. You don't want to sound stressed out. You don't want to sound nervous. And really, the only way you can do that is through experience, through time, and through making sure that you're going into it with a good vibe. So maybe, do a bit of exercise beforehand, listen to your favorite tunes beforehand, do a bit of box breathing beforehand. So you're going into your cold calling session relaxed, chilled. You're slow, you're calm, you're not rushing to get things out, and you're coming across as a trusted, relaxed authority. Okay, so get them booked onto a call, and now you have success with cold email. Now, warm calling is slightly different, and this is depending on the situation. So if you know that they already know you, so for example, let's say they have liked your LinkedIn post, or they've viewed your LinkedIn profile, or they've been on your website, or whatever, maybe they've replied to a cold email or something, it's a lot easier to talk to these people. You literally just jump on the phone and say, "Look, I saw that we talked on LinkedIn," or "I saw you liked my post on LinkedIn," or "I saw Maybe don't say I saw you on our website because it's a little bit creepy. But basically, it's a lot easier warm calling, and that's why you should be actively doing marketing and actively tracking signals. Now, how do you actually set up these signals? Well, signals, as I've already mentioned, they're a great way to see who's already thinking about you and thinking about your services. And you're going to want these set up if you're doing anything. So content marketing, paid ads, SEO, podcasts, cold email right now. You're going to want to be tracking the signals that these are generating. So site visits, we use a tool called RB2B, or you can use a tool called Vector. We use a mixture of both. And these track contact level visitors in the USA. So you can see a direct person that has landed on your website. All you need to do is add a quick pixel to your site, done, and you'll start to get a stream of leads of people that are landing on your website. This works particularly well if you're getting a lot of traffic. Picks up sort of 60 to 70% of the people on your site, gives you their LinkedIn bio, other things as well. So you can go out and connect with them on LinkedIn. All right. So this is how you can book meetings with anyone, and we are so bullish on calling right now. So that's why my offer to you is this. Cold calling is extremely powerful, but it's very hard to get right. It takes time and it costs money. You will have to spend hours each day yourself cold calling, maybe 2 or 3 hours every single day, or you will have to hire an SDR. Both of those are difficult, they're long, and they take time. Hiring an SDR can take months and it can cost a lot of money. And if you've never hired a sales team before, then you're throwing yourself into unknown territory and you're not going to really know what to look for. There's no guarantee of results that it will perform. This is where we come into play. If you are a B2B revenue leader looking to scale pipeline without the headache of hiring or scaling headcount, we will provide you with 2 UK, US based experienced SDR callers that can be up and running in just 10 days. We will handle the tech costs, the town mapping, the data enrichment, the training, the management, the script, and everything else involved in the process is a fully done for you service. You will get calls booked directly on your calendar. So this is going to get you 4,000 calls every single month. This is dials. This is not calls on your calendar. The callers will make 4,000 dials every single month. This will generate you 10 to 20 qualified meetings every single month with your dream customer profile. There will be UK or US based callers. So we're not outsourcing this to the sort of third world or anywhere else in the world. Okay. We will get you total TAM coverage. So we will scrape and we will map your entire total available market. And you will get this within 10 days. So the callers will be up, running, and calling within 10 days. Looking at some recent results for our partners, we generated $2.1 million worth of pipeline for a company called Meter in the past 2 months during the summer down months, which is the worst time to be prospecting. We also helped a design firm generate 170 plus meetings. If this sounds interesting to you, then the first link in the bio will be a link to the offer page where you can learn a little bit more about what it is that we do, how it works, and then you can go ahead and book a call. I hope you enjoyed this video. Too long, didn't read. Here's your TLDR. Get calling, get on the phone, or build the systems to call, because not a lot of people are doing it right now, and it is a huge competitive advantage in the marketplace. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.